Thank you, Perry, for understanding. I'm not techie, so thank you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you. And I'm sorry we're a few minutes late getting started. I just want to reintroduce people who came to our reunion of the youth group, as we used to call ourselves in the 70s. And Aware Care Share was a specific program. So we have Bentley Smith there and his husband, Jim, who are going to play a song to get us started. And I'm Elizabeth Clark. I was Elizabeth Ramsey. We have Penny Chung here with us, and she and her brother is here on Zoom. And I'm not techie, and we lost Tristan, so I'll do the best I can. But Perry, just try to let me know if you need us. And so Susan Baranowski is here. A lot of you already know Susan. Susan's Gainesville. Jim Sullivan, a lot of you know Jim Sullivan III, who is a lawyer in town, and his parents who are at Oak Hammock with Carol and Bill Zagel. They were with us last night for dinner, and Jim, young Jim, planned to be with us this morning, but woke up not feeling 100%. So I neglected to say that when we were in the service. Catherine Cake was around a lot in those days, and she's a good bit younger than we are. So it was an honor and a pleasure to sit with Catherine as well. Thank you very much for coming. On Friday night, I went like this, realizing like how incredibly talented these two gentlemen are. And I'm so grateful that they were willing to just jump right in, including jumping into play here for this. So thank you both. Yeah, so they're going to get us started with an opening song. Thank you, Bentley. Thank you, Jim.
And I can remember being back prior to being here at the Presbyterian Student Center. You want me to hold that? Okay. And the thing I remember is being in the children's choir and running across the street to practice, and then coming back. And
It's 3 buildings ago, right? That was 3 sanctuaries ago. We were in the church before Larry and Sandy Reimer arrived. So we would set up our chairs in the Presbyterian Student Center. The congregation at that time, we all could fit in somebody's house for dinner. On University on University Avenue, and we rented space there. So
that way, right? Yeah, that way. So.
Yeah. So the minister, when we were kids, was Ken Stokes, and I think if I'm able to show the pictures, we have some pictures from those years. But yes, and Henry Aldridge. I want to remember some of the saints of this church. Edith McCune were huge in musical gifts and leadership back then. Excuse me for interrupting.
And Ken Peterson,
Yeah.
playing recorder.
Len
Peterson, right?
Len Peterson. And Stephen couldn't be here with us. He was part of our group. Gary Peterson visited last weekend, right? Because his
Bergen, Norway. Wow.
oh wow, and his mom is at. And is his mom at Oak Hammock? Is that? But I thought he visits somebody at.
Peterson and his mother were divorced, and he remarried Anne Margolis, and she's a resident at Oak Hammock.
Oh, okay. So Len is there. Yeah. Thank you.
Moved in here, and this became the sanctuary. I don't recall playing guitar here, but I have very distinct memories of playing for Easter because I was a French horn player.
Oh.
So we had lots of brass quartet. So it's. I went to PK. Went to Westwood. Yeah. Yeah, well, Westwood for middle school and Finley for elementary school, which we drove by today, and it's no longer Finley.
It was renamed during the renaming of a lot of things. So apparently Finley was a Confederate general,
Yeah.
which I went there
my brother-
for my entire elementary career and nobody ever said that to me, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, marching band.
So is that a song from the Confederacy?
Oh, no, we're not. When we lived on a boat for 20 years, and during that time, got the opportunity to learn how to play banjo. And so we've been playing now for almost a decade, and we have eclectic tastes. And so what we're going to start off with is Amazing Grace. However, the tune is not what you're used to. The Amazing Grace that you're used to is in 3/4. This one's in 4/4, and it's the tune for Abide with Me.
As the all stars do
Ready?
this. So it's only temporary. It's not that inside.
Could you sit on the side? So that you're looking, you want to be on the side?
Subtle side.
So just like once I was blind, but now. There we go. Once I was, but now I we see. Was great and broken heart. And grace in the arms, deep and spirit. Oh, precious name, that all peaceful, and it's the heart. Oh, that the dream moment and the life first. We have forever trials overcome. Is grace and the honor all the same. If love is small, and precious is sweet, always we know. When we've been to thousand years old, all brightly shine. As our time the sun, we know that stays to see. When as we Okay, loop around to the top. Join us again. Amazing grace, how sweet the lost. And the Savior so just like once I was lost, but now going I have found. Some it was fine, but now I true. Say
Thank you. Thank you.
Because we look through our repertoire, take your cable off, and look at a song of hope.
I was supposed to check and see if the Zoom people can hear us.
Oh, you might be able to do that.
They're
Real quick,
virtual people.
Thank you, Jim.
There.
Perry's on. Perry, are you, yeah, he's waving. Perry, were you able to hear the song? Okay, so. So
Can you hear this? Can you hear me, Perry?
he's thumbs up with that.
We have to be close to the mic for Perry to hear.
I'm sorry, I'm not a tech person. I was planning on Tristan being here, but I understand he has needed to be somewhere else, so. And I have a mic on. so Perry, you can
Does
hear
that
me.
work as well?
Perry, how about now? Jim's gonna speak. Oh. Oh, great. Problem solvers. Wonderful. Thank you. Michael, I need help. I can't let them. Thank you. Thank you very much, honey. Okay, so Perry, we got you. But where is Perry today, Penny? Salt Lake City. Penny's brother.
Beautiful.
Do this one.
Sure. Okay, you're in trouble now. I think you can hear us. There's a talk and a trouble sideline. There's a problem with the side too. With the darkness and strength. The sunshine of God, so maybe. When you walk on the sun's out, falls over the sunny sand. Sun's out, keep on sunshine. A storm and its fury broke today, crushing on the reach and flourish. Clouds and seas will in time pass. The sun will shine bright and clear. You keep me now. The sun of love. The darkness has gathered all around. And hope that you will far beyond my ground. I will reach the fingers to me.
Thank you both. Thank you very much. They play as the
Salty Paw.
as Salty Paws. And you all have a Bandcamp channel and a YouTube channel, is that right? And I'm just gonna hope that this works. I haven't tested it, so hopefully the volume is working. Yeah. I just don't know about the sound.
Well, Miss, I'm in a one-on-one Spanish conversation class, if you will, in Antigua de Guatemala. I've been spending 8 hours a day practicing Spanish, going through Spanish classes. And this is one of the times when our Aware Care Share group came up. We had a almost theological discussion debate about infant baptism. And as part of that, I described confirmation class, faith exploration experience that I underwent at the United Church of Gainesville with a number of other young people, where we explored our faith and thought about our future and thought about what it might mean to be a Christian in a particular religious community, in a particular town, in a particular place. And I might have even, in my broken Spanish, tried to say something like conocer, cuidar, compartir, or something like that to describe it. So that was an occasion with someone I had just met that week in Spanish, where I described a little bit about our experience and my experience in Aware Care Share. I also talked with one of my pastors who was helping organize a confirmation retreat, if you will, for youth around our presbytery. That's what we call a group of churches in the Presbyterian Church. And she talked about trying to move that experience to something more that sounded a little bit more like what we were involved in. Once upon a time, traditionally in the Presbyterian Church, which is more of a creedal church, we actually had young people memorize the responses to something called the Heidelberg Catechism. So that's very different than what we went through all the way back in the 1970s. And another thing I remember about this, our experience, was the ability to express, to share questions and even express doubts, and to explore our faith and move along our spiritual journey, our faith formation in that way. I will say that, you know, I've had an up and down experience in organized religion, but today I am in the so-called Presbyterian Center, the national headquarters of the Presbyterian Church USA. I'm a Presbyterian right now, and I actually worked here off and on for 15 years, and I'm not going to be able to be there this weekend, unfortunately, which I'm very disappointed about, because I'm essentially a delegate from our presbytery here in Louisville, Kentucky, to our once every 2 years national meetings in Salt Lake City. So while you all are getting together Saturday, and while you're in worship, and then afterwards on Sunday, I'll be in Salt Lake City. In fact, I think while you were talking in the afternoon and sharing, I'll be worshiping in the first ever time for me, a Japanese American church, a Presbyterian church in Salt Lake City. I hope there's at least a little English, but I know a tiny bit of Japanese. So I'm sorry not to be there. I love the experience, and I refer to it occasionally, obviously, to other people. And I've even talked about it in Spanish. So I hope things go well. I hope I have another chance, certainly to worship there at UCG, but also to connect with some of you all more.
Good. All right. Penny, would you like to share? Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I want to get rid of all that somehow.
They pick it up or just
How to do that.
thing?
Hi, thanks for coming. So I'm just going to share a couple memories from my time, the things I remember best. Caesar just showed me a picture of one of them, and she was saying something. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was some kind of, you called it a nuclear disaster weekend that Larry and Sandy Reimer designed for the youth group. We were just told they were going to call us and they were going to tell us when to come and what to bring. And we knew it was that weekend, but we didn't know exactly what was happening. And they called, and I can't remember exactly what the story was, but something like there had been a nuclear disaster and we need to rush to the church and get into safety inside the church and bring everything we need to survive the weekend. And we were going to lock the doors and close everything so the nuclear, waste, whatever pollution wouldn't come into the church. And of course, somebody was very late and we had to make the decision, like, do we actually open the doors and take the risk and let this person come in? And then of course, my recollection is you and Sally brought food, but my brother and I did not. So some people brought food, some people had. So there's this whole thing about people brought food and share with people who haven't brought food. And, we had all these decisions to make. So, and we did a lot of trust games. So anyway, I just remember that beginning of that week in particular very clearly because it was just a heightened time of choice and being community. And it's really stuck with me. The other thing I want to talk about is, it's interesting to hear, what is her name? The woman who read the story? Or somebody said, no, the one who did the video, the StoryCorps. She said her daughters hated church retreat. I loved church retreat. It's my favorite memory of this church is church retreat. And I loved the Virginia Reel. I adored the Virginia Reel because I actually wanted to be a dancer. I was made to be a musician as a young person, but I am a dancer now. I have a dance company. So I love the Virginia Reel. And I took that Virginia Reel that, we did every year. So I knew it so well. And when I got married, I married a Frenchman whose family lives in France. 9 people came from France to my wedding in Wakulla County, outside Tallahassee. And only a couple of them spoke any English. So I had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do together, bring us together where the language doesn't matter as much? And I got a single vinyl that had the music and the words of Virginia Reel, and I taught it to the French before reception. So in reception, we did the Virginia Reel, all of us. And they could do that together and didn't have to talk. And it was great fun. And that was because I learned it at church retreat. And I remember sitting around the campfire and singing. And I remember Len Peterson standing outside the dining center, the corridor, saying to me, do you think 40 is too old to learn to play guitar? And me saying, 10 years old, saying, no, I'm sure it'll be fine. Of course, now that seems really young, but anyway, around that campfire, things happened. That was I don't know if you guys know, but I dated Jim Sullivan III for 3 years, long distance, because we moved to Tallahassee by that time. So it was sitting around the campfire in church retreat that I kind of leaned toward him and he put his hand in my back. And that was the beginning of that relationship. It was at church retreat. And those songs were really powerful to me. And some of those songs that we sang are my mother, whose name was Martha Miller toward the end, but he was Martha Chong here. She died January 6, 2024. She died a few months ago. And I was with her the last 6 days of her life. And I was putting lotion on her and reading poetry and singing some of the songs that we sang in church retreat. So I sang, Michael Row the Boat Ashore and Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. And I also sang another song that I would actually like to sing with y'all, if you know it. And I haven't really sung this song very much in church since then, but I learned it so well from Henry Aldridge, who was the choir director, and we had a children's choir. I don't remember how old I was. It must have been really young. Like, I don't know. I think this was before I don't know how old I was. I don't know if I was 10 or 8 but anyway, we learned this song. And I remember so clearly him explained to us that a balm in Gilead was actually referring to Jesus Christ. So if you know the song, sing with me. So there is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. Sometimes I feel discouraged and I don't know where I've been. But then the Holy Spirit revives my soul again. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul.
Thank you, Penny. And Penny, your brother's comments are there. He said, I had mixed feelings about the bell that woke us up at retreat at 6:45 a.m. or so. And thank you to the late Reverend Ken Stokes, who you mentioned, for developing the retreat. He says he's occasionally in touch with Hap Stokes as he goes by now, who's our age. And Ken Stokes, who was here before Larry and Sandy, had 3 sons, and they were our age and in our youth group. And so thanks to what I call Crackbook, AKA Facebook, we're in touch with Ken's sons. And I wanted to show you pictures. There's Bentley and Jim. Let me just find,
Yeah, show that one.
okay.
There.
So if I click on it, maybe,
Oh, that one.
yep, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm Susan Marinowski. I was part of the very first Aware Care Share group in 1974, as pictured. This was in our backyard. I'm sitting on the left, and next to me is Sarah Landis, who also went by Sally. And between us, behind us, is Mark McCullough. I think he is still around. I'm not sure. Yes, someone says yes. Standing in the back, of course, Larry Reimer and Corey Landis. I do not remember the name of the young woman at the right. And then down below is Mary Byers and Sandy, of course.
Sandy,
and-
I love that picture.
Yeah, I love it too. Joyful laugh. And I don't think I knew that it was a confirmation group. It was just, it was just a continuation of youth group to me. But it was extremely formative, that experience and everything else that we did in youth group. I think that really everything I've done in my life since then has, been influenced by that time. It was that important. I ended up going into, first into fine arts, but then into environmental work, which was my main career. And another thing that I've been quite involved with lately is our local green cemetery, Prairie Creek Conservation Cemetery, which has a close relationship with this church. So I was one of the founding board members there and have continued that work. I'm back on the board right now. We go on and off because we have short terms so that we keep, a rotation on the board. And that's been such heartfelt work all the way through. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say except, how formative it was. Also, my brother, who happens to be on the right up here, is one of the wise guys.
And this is me.
Yeah, that's Elizabeth and Steve
Then-
Peterson as Mary and Joseph. And then we have Jeff Andrew.
Our current school superintendent, but I was unable to get Jeff here, so.
Yeah. And then we thought maybe Sarah Landis as the otherwise person.
Around.
Yeah.
Sarah owns the Perfect Gift out in Hale. the gift
Gift shop in Hale, yeah.
And Susan was Susie in our group, but she's Susan now, and she lives in North Carolina, and she takes care of Pat Landis, whose health is declining. So Pat Landis just moved up there, if you know Pat.
Yeah, so anyway, my brother just sends greetings to everyone and said that this also was an extremely formative process for him. He was in the next group after my group.
That's Bentley. This is Bentley.
With much longer hair.
There you go. But- All right, am I missing any pictures that you wanted to share if I speak next? Is it okay? Or Bentley, do you want to speak?
Can I just say that Bill Landis is married to my yoga mate and lives in Maine?
Yeah, they're, Bentley, you want to go ahead? You,
No,
okay?
I've taken up the picture.
Oh, I would, I just love to have the music the whole time. I'm already on the mic. I forgot. Thank you, Susan. So my name's Elizabeth. Is it okay to sit? My name's Elizabeth Ramsey Clark. I have to read because I'm probably gonna get emotional. So I'm just gonna do it that way. I moved to Gainesville with my family of origin in 1966. I'm already going, when I was 3. In 1968, my family came to UCG, the building on University Avenue. I think my parents responded to a newspaper ad about a new church forming. And back in those days, we could all fit at one member's house for dinner. We were often at the Sullivan's house, and Jim and Ruby Sullivan and their son, Jim. I actively attended UCG until about 1978. My parents divorced in 76, and I moved to Palatka in 78 to attend the Florida School of the Arts. After graduating from high school there and earning my associate degree there, I went to Fairleigh Dickinson in Teaneck, New Jersey, got my bachelor's. I returned to Florida in 1996. So I missed a lot of years here, and I reconnected with UCG 96, 97. I live in Gainesville. I'm a public school teacher. I have had a lot of life events here. Michael McCoy is my love, and he's here. We consider ourselves spouses. I had my wedding here to Anthony Clark, my son's father, in 1998. Brian was baptized here in 2001. I had beautiful memorial services for my mom in 2011, Linda Stevens. She's listed in the list of moderators of this church as Linda Ramsey in 76, I think, and then Linda Stevens, because she took back her maiden name in 77. My mother had a lot to do with the acquisition of this building, is always what I always heard. My sister was Sally Ramsey Price. She's in a lot of these pictures, and she passed in 2021. And then my stepdad, Lonnie Bryan, who was in the school system here until he and my mom moved away to Savannah, Georgia in 1980. Lonnie was dad to me throughout my adult life. And he passed in 2023, and Bromley had a marvelous, everybody had, the church had a marvelous service for tribute to my dad. My earliest memories here include setting up and taking down our chairs for the services in the space that was the Presbyterian Student Center. I remember Ken Stokes, who was here before Larry and Sandy arrived in 74, and his 3 sons, who were around the same age as me and my 2 sisters, Ellen and Sally. I definitely remember Larry and Sandy's arrival. I remember being delighted that we had a minister who had long hair, laughed a lot, and played the guitar. I remember kids at school complaining about having to go to church, and that was mind-blowing to me. I could not wait for Sundays, especially after you arrived. Particularly after you arrived. And I loved attending church here. Favorite youth group memories include painting the walls upstairs when we got this building and we were upstairs, painting the walls, going to other churches, church services, to learn about other faith traditions, going to see Godspell together, taking beach trips, going on campouts together, lots of music and dancing, parking cars for Gator games. A very scary but very fun Halloween party at the Sullivan's house. Playing pool in the Landis's basement. Progressive suppers where we would have a course at each, like you go for an appetizer at your house and main dish at your house and dessert at your house. Lots of love, laugh, and support. I want to share with you that this church was my safe place as a kid. Our home was not safe. And My biological father was abusive and my two sisters were deeply affected by that abuse. My mom wasn't able for a variety of reasons, and I loved my mother dearly. My mom wasn't able to protect us, and that created a great deal of resentment and anger in our family system. Outsiders did not know what was happening in our home. We were trained early not to tell, and my mother and I were able to connect and make peace when my son was born and she moved. Caroline, I'm sorry. My mother and I were very close, and I would give anything to have 5 more minutes with her. So, but my sister Sally never recovered, and my sister is self-medicated with drugs and alcohol her entire adult life and died 2 years ago. We were a tragic story. My mother and my son were very close, and I think of all the things I miss about my mother, I miss their relation. I miss my mother for my son. Larry Reimer protected me and tried so hard to protect us. He didn't know exactly what was going on, but he knew something was wrong. In the aftermath of my parents' divorce, when my biological father was acting erratically and putting Sally in danger, Ellen had moved away. And Sally was a GHS student and I was in Palatka. Larry did everything he could to keep my sister Sally safe. Years later, when I was pregnant with my son Brian in 2000, I learned through a distant cousin that my biological father was in the process of trying to become a minister in Georgia. Larry stood with me and by me and supported me as I did what I could to prevent that. My biological father passed away last year. I'm so grateful to be here with people that I love in a place I love. When I see a phone call from Larry or Sandy or Bromley or Talia, I pick up the phone and I say yes before I say hello, because I'm guessing that they're calling me to sing. And it is such a joy and a privilege and an honor to get to sing here. I not only get to sing to the congregation, but I get to sing to the great heavenly souls of this church, including my mother and my sister. Our church is experiencing a challenging time right now, and I want very much for people to know of the very deep, loving roots we have here. And I appreciate so much that the ministerial team, the office team, business teams, and technical teams here supported me in planning and implementing this reunion. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for organizing this.
Thank you, Bentley.
Thank you for your sharing.
Thank you. Bentley, do you want to just end on a lighter note? Maybe a song? A song,
Or
please?
talk a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't talk well.
To differ. Beg to differ. Oh, yes, you're paneling.
Yeah. When this area, this building was taken over, I was fortunate enough to have a father who was pretty handy and offered to help renovate the room. And so we put on many, many panels of paneling all the way around. And I can remember the baptismal font that was up in the corner. Yeah. And
This here was higher.
yeah.
Font was up in that wall.
So yes, let's grab an instrument and play something happy.
Thank you. Thank you. We need that. Like. You all, please help me lobby Bentley and Jim to move here, please. Benny, do. Taylor and Punta Gorda.
And
we learned at a C music festival about this song. And it goes along with the whole theme today that Sandy and Luther have so beautifully shared with us. It's called Mary Ellen Carter.
It's a song about a boat that sunk and was brought to, no, it was, people got together and lifted it back up.
Yeah. And your part is Rise Again. Rise Again.
We got it.
Two.
Pouring private rain, the skipper he baby felt your hand. Too close to 3 Mile Rock, and she was still her little thing. And the Mary Ellen Carter settled. They were just as fine aboard me, kindly was a watch. We worked like hell to save her, all people saw the cost. But then she went down, it caused us to believe that Mary Ellen Carter would drive. Well, the owners wrote her up, now that they go, they spend. She gave 20 years of service, then there's no end. The insurance paid the loss to us, so let me in. They have to stay city held to go. We took to the papers around the clock. She's put $250,000 up flooring at the dock. And with every jaw that hit the bar, we swore we would retain every other car. Rise again, chickens. Rise again. Rise again. Let her name not be lost to him all the again. And those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter again. Oh, we could not leave her there, you see, to crumble into skin. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gales and the laugh. Consoled after check was sorry. They laughing in another day. And you nice little boy with violent bastards flying to you and go turn to God with all your heart, God and brain and life. Mary Ellen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again. They that we lost in the dogs of men. And those who take this to the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter again. Right. And though your heart it be broken, your life about to end. No matter what you've lost me in all, hello, grant me our God, Mary Ellen Carter rise again.
Go away. Don't go away. It's not up here. I know. Your mic's still on. Oh. Which one do you want to do?
Not so less when I have to give up. When the shadows of this life have gone, I will fly away. Like a bird from whose prison walls has flown, I will fly away. Just for weary days and then to that great land where joy will never When I die, hallelujah, Lord. Lord. Thank you.
So we stand in a circle for a closing prayer, and then he's gonna lead a closing prayer for us and thank you. What's that kind of prayer?
Oh, okay. I can do that. So let's just take a quiet moment. We're so thankful to be here with one another and thankful for Penny and Susan, for Jim and Bentley, for Elizabeth, for Jim, for Perry, for being here to share their experiences and the ways this church has shaped and informed their lives. We're grateful for them, for their place in this world that has helped make the world a better place. And we are thankful as well for the whole community that is UCG, for its history, past, its present, its future, that it may be a place of healing, a place where words of truth can be spoken and understood, a place where heartache can be held in love, a place where each person is valued and cared for. May we continue to be that. May we hold each other in good times, celebrating and laughing, and in hard times, sharing and crying. So bless this time, bless each of us, and squeeze tightly the hands you're holding. Hold on. Hold on. Amen.
Thank you.
Sorry, were you able to hear that prayer? Or is it? I guess it's gone, huh?